Hello, Laura here from Zone 4A in Ontario, Canada. I was out the other day before yesterday, harvesting some of my greens, the bok choy, the Swiss chard, etc., etc. And they keep calling for thunderstorms. There have been thunderstorms and flooding all around me, but no rain here, so to speak. So I wait to water, and then I have to water because things will die, because I have container gardening people and Mother Nature is trying to drive me crazy. I finally got a hold of how to control the critters eating everything in my garden, my container garden on the deck, but the only thing is, Mother Nature threw me a loop. Yes, she has, with the weather. Not that I'm complaining. I mean, she could do whatever she wants. But it's like I moved the plants underneath the eave of the house. Torrential rains, high winds, yada yada. Well, I'm container gardening, so it could blow things over. It could drown things. I have squash that could get mildew if it gets too wet. And so I move things daily. And then I move them back into the sun because they need the sun. And then I move them back. And then I move them back. And then they go back. And I'm going crazy. I think I'm going crazy. Are there any other gardeners out there that are going crazy with this weather? Are you trying to go above and beyond and protect your plants? Half of me wishes I planted it in the ground. I wouldn't have to worry about my plants flooding, because they wouldn't be in containers. They would still probably get mildew from too much rain. But so I'm trying this year to not have that happen. I'm trying really hard, but it's driving me crazy. So it's finally time to harvest outside from my garden truck. The pak choy and bok choy and some Swiss chard and some other leaves, and giving them a good water rinse. And I usually take that tote outside with water in it when I harvest. Cold water, and I harvest into the cold water tote so it doesn't wilt before I can get it in. And then I put some salt in the water, and it usually gets away, gets rid of any of those little buggies that you don't want, and then you rinse that a few more times. Get that all off and get it nice and clean. And so far no buggies, except for today. But I'll talk about that in a minute. Something got under the net. Yep, it sure did. It found its way in. But probably when I was harvesting 2 days ago, this is probably when they went in and I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it. And they got in. As soon as you open that net up, boy, I tell you, they make a fast beeline like it's bees to honey. Yeah, they think, oh boy, she thinks she can keep us out, but she can't. No, she can't. Yeah, I make like a little cartoon sketch in my brain as a gardener about bugs and critters, and it's how I get through the gardening season, folks, because you'll go stark raving mad if you try for that perfect vegetable, because that's never going to happen. So anyway, I washed and let it drain a little bit, because I like to wrap up my freshly harvested produce in paper towels, and then it goes into a bag. I order rice by 8 kilograms bag, and it's a huge bag. And I save those bags because you never know when you need an 8 kilogram size bag. And this worked perfectly for storing my lettuce, my greens in my refrigerator, wrapped up, as you will see very shortly, in paper towels. First I let it sort of air dry just a little bit. I don't salad spin it or anything like that. I just give it a little shake and I put it in that drainer, across the sink drainer. And yeah, see, there's the dirty water. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want to eat that in our salads. No. But I save that water. Yes, I do. I put it in a bucket and it goes outside the next morning, and I refill up my watering cans with the water. Not the water I use salt. Do not use your salted water. You will kill everything you're growing if you try that. This is fresh, clean water that I rinsed off a couple of times, the salted water and the bugs, if there were any. So this is just plain water with remnants of plant matter there. You get the gist. Don't use salted water on your plants, but I do save my water, the regular water. See, I'm going nuts. See, I even made a sign so I wouldn't forget. Don't drain the rinse water. It's for my plants. We'll save on the water bill. Yeah, I try. I just taped that right on my picture. I don't have a window in my kitchen, so I hung a picture of a few bluebirds there in front of my sink. And that serves the purpose. When I'm doing dishes, I pretend I'm looking out the window at some really cute bluebirds, that they're always there. So, here's the paper towel. I will stretch it out like that, and I reuse it. I buy the good stuff. So, I can dry this, hang it over the handle of my stove when I'm done, and it'll dry. And then once that paper towel is dry, after I've used it, and the greens are all eaten, then I can fold it back up and then put it back into that rice bag, that 8-kilogram rice bag, and reuse it many times over and over. And so you don't have to, it's not a waste. And then at the end of summer, I can use the paper towels for other things. So then I lay out my greens on the paper towels like that. Yes. And I try and separate the bok choy from the other greens. That way I know which to get. And the lettuce I separate. So then I will roll it up, not tight, very loosely. You don't want it tight. But because it's damp and it's in the paper towels and then it's in the bag, it'll keep for quite a long time and it will not wilt. Now here's the 8-kilogram rice bag I was talking about. You see the diamond holes? I'll make holes in it. So you don't want it solid because then condensation will set in and your paper towels will get all soggy and then your greens will get all soggy, and that's no good. You can't keep it a long time and you're crisper that way. So I put holes, I just cut little diamond shapes out of the bag, and then I put the rolled up greens inside that bag. And it works beautifully. And here's a shot of my peppers I was growing indoors, and this particular one I moved outdoors. I have another one indoors. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to let the other one out or not. And then my zucchini and some of my tomatoes and whatnots, they get moved over there underneath the eaves. And like I said, things get moved back and forth, except for the potatoes. I don't. August 15th is the due date for them to be ready. Now this is a funnel because there's two different planters, one sitting on top of the other with metal stakes to hold it up in the cage, keep the critters out. So, but I couldn't water because the bigger ones on the top, I made a boo-boo, and the smaller ones at the bottom. I thought I would drain down to the smaller one and get water, but that didn't work. So I just watered my shoe. I don't know if you caught that or not, but yeah, I wasn't paying attention, and it's hard to film and water through a funnel at the same time. So here is my garden truck, and I thought I need to give it some more room, so I thought I would harvest a few of the daikon radishes. They're by no means ready to harvest, but I need to make room. And you can eat the greens from the daikon radish as well. So I thought, well, shoot, I'm going to harvest that. There's a lot of greens off of that daikon radish. And I love stir fry, so we're going to have stir fry tomorrow. And yeah. And I do use a used broken fan front screen for sifting of my soil. I have a barrel down in my garden that I compost in, spent leaves or spent rhubarb leaves, and it composts down there. So I've been taking the soil from there and not robbing my compost bin. So I had my daughter do a little bit of grocery shopping for me, and I asked for 2 bags of onions. Well, they didn't have the bags, but they had the jumbo bags. So she bought me a bag that was 10 pounds of onions. So I always take the onions from the store and I cut them up either in chunks or small bits or rings or whatever I need or think I need, and I put them in Ziploc baggies because they will inevitably go rotten before I could eat them all or use them all. So what I do is I put the bags into the refrigerator for a day or 2, and by doing so it keeps you from crying in your soup while trying to cut a lot of onions at one time, because having them chilled cuts down the burning sensation in your eyes. So that's a little helpful tip. So I sat down yesterday and I cut up 10 pounds of white onions and bagged them up. I wound up with 5 large baggies full of already pre-cut onions. They're in my freezer. When I need it, I just pull out a handful if I need it. And I just made some hamburgers, and I put some cut up onions while I was cooking the burgers, and it was perfect. And I didn't have to peel it. I didn't have to cut it. It was wonderful. The reason I had the hamburger was because I was making a pizza, because I had thawed out some pinto beans, refried beans, and I wanted a refried bean pizza. So I made the pizza shell, and then I put the refried beans on the pizza shell, and I sliced the hamburger and the onions that I cooked with the burger in my little Mr. T cooker. You know, those little griddles that you could use. I like to put a piece of parchment paper down and put the burger on top of the parchment paper, and that way the meat and whatever you're cooking doesn't burn onto the grill, because mine aren't detachable, and it works beautifully. Nothing sticks. It's easy cleanup. So I added the onions to that, and I sliced it, and it went on the pizza with some bell pepper. It was fabulous. So anyway, I digress. The whole reason for showing you this picture of these 2 sprouted onions in this planter is because none of the onions were rotten inside that 10-pound bag, but 2 of them had sprouted. So I thought, okay, I watched a video from Thailand or something, and he cut off the top and he planted the onions into a pop bottle. Well, mine had already sprouted, so I didn't need to do that. So I just put them in the thing. And he harvested 3 times from those onions. They grew the green, the green stalk. And he ate that, and baskets full. Oh, I gotta try that with a pop bottle. I have 1 pop bottle. I gotta try that, but I probably won't get some more onions until next year now, because I've got 10 pounds of onions cut in my freezer right now. And I gotta get down into the yard to my main compost bin and bury all the peels and whatnot in there. Yeah, I got stuff to do. I gotta dodge thunderstorms, dodge the heat, dodge the smoke from the fires that are still on fire, and my back is killing me, and Mother Nature's trying to drive me crazy. And I hope everyone is having a good evening and a good gardening year, and everything's going okay with you. I hope. I'm just going crazy over here, but don't mind me. That's nothing new. Take care. Bye-bye.